Okay, so I'm building this entire entranceway. It's not perfect, but it works. The challenge with this kind of thing is that it's not necessarily one to one. So since it's not one to one, it's like how many blocks do I use? How big should everything be? Don't really have an answer to any of those questions, so they're the kind of thing I kind of like figure out in real time. Like obviously this is much bigger than the real M&T Bank Stadium. Much bigger than one to one. Maybe if I'm talking ratios, maybe it's 16 to 1, maybe a little bit bigger. Every corner of this stadium is like a different project. So these luxury boxes, this press box, this was a whole day in and of itself. Rebuilt this a couple of times. This was a whole day in and of itself. Everything in here is kind of like its own little project. Essentially, this stadium is probably about 10,000 miniature projects rolled together. Want to make these bigger, but I haven't decided if I feel like going back in and tweaking or just sticking with what I have there since I have so many other things to do still. So yeah, this is going to be today's project, continuing to work on this entranceway. And then just to be clear, this is all pretty much placeholder stuff. So I mean, I'm probably gonna go back in at some point and change a lot of this stuff. Just trying to get some idea what it should look like for the time being. These parts I'm working on are more so the mundane aspects of this project, but like I said, now that like the inside is done mostly, I don't have to do as much in there. It's like rewarding and refreshing to kind of see the stuff that's come together more recently. So it makes it a little bit easier to get through, slog through these mundane aspects of the project. And just vibe wise, I'm probably going to go back and end up changing a lot of this that I'm currently building to make it fit better or look better. Like I said, this is just a placeholder. Just to get some idea of like structurally how this is all going to fit together. We got some cows, we got some bats. Does it annoy the hell out of me that there's a bunch of animals in my flat world that I can't get rid of? Yes, yes it does. All of this green in front of me is going to eventually turn into some kind of a parking lot. Like I said, all this stuff is kind of up in the air. I haven't decided how much of it I want to do, how accurate one-to-one about it I want to be. If I want to do this entire parking lot and the bridge that is perpendicular to it behind it, I haven't decided if I want to go that far into it yet. I'll play it by ear. Once the stadium itself and surrounding aspects of it are done, then I'll go back and see how much more detail I'm going to put into everything around it. Looks good so far though. so I just did this tiny little bit of a floor plan, but in reality I already have to change it because it's not correct. It has to mirror what I have on the other side. And I do not have smooth sandstone flooring on the other side. It has to look like this. This is what it should look like. Something along these lines. Okay, so sandstone, brick, granite, granite, brick, granite, brick, sandstone. Something like this. Even this isn't perfect, but like I said, placeholder. Everything in here is a placeholder. Eventually gonna go back and tweak some of this stuff, make it better, change materials. I recently changed out a lot of this sandstone that was on the floor. I had it up here. Changed it out for the new smooth sandstone, which looks a little bit better. So, gonna do things like that around the entire stadium at some point. Go back in, pick better looking materials for certain aspects where it's needed. And see, this side has been untouched, so this side there's nothing. Nothing at all. Other than, of course, the awesome fountain pool. One of my friends from back in the day, Xbox 360 days, she came in my world and she made this. It was pretty dope. Independent of what I do with the rest of the stadium, this will stay. This will remain untouched. That is a tribute. She was the first person outside of myself that I allowed to come into this world and hang out. She built that, so that will persist. Everything else is up in the air. Even though I sound unhappy about it, I do really love this project. I mean, it has come along more amazing than I could have ever imagined. It started out as just, a simple thing. Let's see if I can build a stadium. Let's see how hard it really is. Let's see how far I get it, and then maybe I call it a day. And the time since, it's really come together, and it's like starting to actually look like a real stadium now. So that's been like the motivation to keep like slogging through. I want to put numbering on the field, but again, that's another one of those things where it's like kind of like bucket list item. Then I'm probably gonna just leave it alone. It's like my field looks pretty good, so I'm gonna just leave it alone for now. I have so many untouched and unfinished projects. I can't be adding on new projects. Humble brag though, this looks good as hell. This is super symmetrical all the way around. Couple of rows are uneven from side to side, ratio wise, but I don't really care about that too much at the moment. Overall, it looks good. No one will notice that but me, so that's fine. Again, that might be another one of those things at some point I go back and if I choose to be anal and go ahead and make it perfect, but it's not like pressing at the moment. At some point I have to add row signs so you can see like what number every floor is and everything like that. I'm going to do that at some point too. Row A, B, C, D, E, F, G, the 100s, the 200s, 300s, and etc. Want to do something with these hallways, but again, it's one of those things. It's like, how detailed do I want to go with this project? I mean, do I want to have concession stands and photo booths? I mean, maybe at some point. I don't know. I try not to think too far ahead with this project, but whenever I go through these tunnels, I always think, do I want to have something in here? Do I want to be that anal about my attention to detail? Or is it just enough for the outside and the rooms to look really good? VIP press only beyond this point. It's my stadium, so I guess I'm a VIP, I would say. Again, even all of this stuff is kind of like ugly. I mean, I got some paintings and stuff in here. It looks a little bit more like homely and not like a damn dungeon, but still work in progress. That's the thing with my entire stadium on the inside is it really looks like a dungeon. So I might have to do something about that at some point, but not in the short term. For now, it suffices. It's fine. Please have credentials ready to present. Come on, man. We're all credentials over here, man. I've built a lot of really dope things in this stadium, but honestly, this press box is probably still my favorite. This is like the most realistic looking, looks really comfortable, and still looks like a press box. I mean, I'm really, really proud of this and how this came together. One day, I think actually on a similar type of a Sunday, decided to stream. Ended up doing this entire room in one session. This was just nothing. There was nothing here previously, and I carved it out and it turned into this awesome press box. Very happy with it. Might actually even redo some of the other rooms because of how good this one looks. So, this is definitely good. Motivation. Back to the dungeon hallway. Even these hallways feel a little bit too long. I've been trying to decide if I want to narrow them up or put something in between to make it faster to get from one side to another. Again, like I said, this is another one of those things. Like, it's fascinating building a stadium because it forces you to have to be cognizant of a lot of the decision making that goes into designing real stadiums. So you have this giant building that facilitates 50, 60, 70, 80,000 people. How do you get all of these people from place to place? How many hallways are there? How many exits, fire escapes? I mean, that aspect of architecture and what goes into designing buildings and particularly stadiums is really, really fascinating. And I feel like I can connect to it even more now, having, in a small way, kind of, tapped into some of what it takes to do that kind of work. Like, I'm never going to have 50,000 people in here at once. I'm never going to have even 10 people in here at once. Yet I'm still trying to, like, make everything, design everything in such a way that it is really functional. I mean, it's anal, it's ridiculous, I know, but it's a point of emphasis for sure. That everything's symmetrical, that everything's functional. That there's an asymmetry to the way the hallways connect to one another. I mean, there's a lot of little things in here I have to figure out. If I'm content with where it's at or if I want to start adding on to it. I like the dungeon hallways though. Very Byzantine. Very akin to Roman architecture and the way everything funnels. But again, like I said, I'm probably going to end up changing a lot of this stuff. Even though I don't know what the change is going to be yet, but that's a different story. It's a challenge at the same time too because there's a lot of little things in here that I would like to change, but I can't. Like, I would love to put lights up here, but you can't put upside down lights because it's technically torches, so that makes sense. But design wise, it's a limitation because since I have to put lights on the wall, it doesn't have the same look as if I could put them on the ceiling or if I could put them inside of glass or something. So that little stuff like that is a limitation at times, but it ultimately, it's not a huge thing. But aesthetically, I'm not as in love with it as some of the other stuff that I could potentially be able to do in this space. Alright. I've dawdled long enough. Time to continue working on the entranceway. So, yeah, we're gonna destroy this, switch this to sandstone. Actually, no, that looks good. Hmm. So technically I'm supposed to have 16 symmetrical corridors right here like I have on the other. I don't think I have 16 on the other side, but I'm to do something along those lines. So actually, let's go over there and look. See how many I have. Okay, so I don't have 16, but actually, no, I might actually have 16. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's a lot of them, so it has to be something along these lines. Don't know. I have to add more trees. I have to add more shrubbery. Aesthetically, this kind of looks kind of strange right now because it's like there's this giant stadium and then there's this giant sea of green grass. So this is gonna look a lot better. Even the stadium itself, once this is all parking lot, which that's gonna probably be the most difficult project because it's the most mundane. Having to destroy all of this and then switch it out with this material, whatever material I used for this. My anal attention to detail. Follow us at Ravens. This is the real address for M&T Bank Stadium and their real M&T Bank Stadium service for cell phone, well, not cell phone, but landline number. Made up the ticket prices, but I did go to their website to look up a couple of these to try to make it, somewhat in the ballpark of what they're charging for individual seats. So I think the top one is accurate with their seat prices, and then the bottom one I just made up. Buy a luxury box, 12,000. I mean, that doesn't sound too off of what it probably costs, but trespassers will be banned. Ooh, aren't you the one in charge? Switch to that third person camera real quick. That's actually like the coolest thing in this game sometimes when you switch to the third person camera and then you can really get an idea like the proportions of everything and how big this stadium actually really is. Because it looks huge anyway, but when you see like this small little master, not Master Chief, but Commander Shepard from Mass Effect character walking in this giant space, then it's a lot easier in your mind to proportion the dimensions of this stadium and how relatively minuscule this small little character sprite is compared to this giant stadium. So yeah, as you can see, this is pretty big, and it's technically not the full size. Like once it's finished and it's iterated upon, this isn't. It's going to probably even be bigger than this, because this needs to go all the way up to probably about here. And then in the real life stadium, they have a giant sign over here that says M&T Bank Stadium with like a green background. And that's one of the few things in the stadium I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to make. There's no way I'm going to be able to get that hexagonal shape or the lettering, so I'm probably not even going to attempt that part of it, which sucks. I would love to do it, but I don't think I can do it. It was hell basically trying to get the M&T Bank logo created, and I had to make it much bigger than it actually is to be able to make that. So may not be able to do that, but I'll try to possibly create something else in its place that is something, so it's not just like nothing. Okay, I thought I had a door here, but I guess not. Maybe I destroyed it. Alright, this is the heavy duty mundane work. Motivation to slog through this right now is when this is done, this is gonna look amazing. And from like an ego and vanity perspective, I've seen a couple of people do different renditions of M&T Bank Stadium, but humble brag, I haven't seen any that are the level of detail that mine is, so that's like also the motivation to take the extra time to do some of these little touches, so it doesn't just look like a generic stadium that happens to be Raven Stadium, but that it has all the little subtle nuances that make it feel realistic. Again, not necessarily one-to-one, it doesn't have to be a perfect simulation rendition of anything in Stadium. More or less, as long as it's in the ballpark, it's good enough for me, because like I said, I've had to exaggerate large aspects of it in order to make it bigger, to be able to make it at all, so one-to-one went out of the window relatively quickly. That said, I definitely got a lot of respect for the people who make one-to-one versions of stadiums and buildings. I'm content with my exaggerated, overly large M&T Bank Stadium. A lot of grass, a lot of sand. Every time I look at this outside of the stadium, my just gut cringes. As I see all this blank space, I have to fill all of this in. So I have to do this entire south end zone entrance, and then it has to loop around and connect to the other side. So all of this, and at least I have something here now. So it's like it's beginning, whereas like this side, the long sides have nothing. So this is gonna have to loop around this whole side. I think every time I look at this project, a part of my mind just shakes my head. Like I can't really fathom that I really attempted to do this project, that I really went for it. So I'm mostly happy about, like I said, how everything has gone with it, but it's like frustrating at the same time because lots of little aspects of it I'm like a perfectionist about. So I'm changing stuff, I'm tweaking stuff. This could be better. This could have a better material. This can be bigger. This can be smaller. This can be more efficient. This can be more functional. So there's a lot of little aspects of it that I stress about that I shouldn't. Ultimately, if I just stopped forever and would just put my flag in the ground right here and said, okay, this is what I've done. This is what I have. It's pretty awesome. It's very awesome. It looks amazing, especially like I said, obviously the inside, some of the rooms, the scoreboards. So if that is awesome. That if I never did anything to it again, that it has come out really, really well. But nonetheless, I got a long way to go. Not really big on the whole incompletion thing. It's like I started this project pretty far through it, multiple years of incremental work on it. So might as well go ahead and see the project through. Really want to see the final version of it and see how it comes out. Actually, now that I think about it, in a lot of ways, Minecraft is kind of like Tetris. I mean, of course, you're making buildings and different things, but just the actual gameplay elements of just laying the blocks down, it's a lot like Tetris. And I think thinking of it like Tetris has always kind of enabled me to be able to put it in the back of my mind, like the actual process of what it takes to be able to do this kind of a thing. And I think that's why I don't necessarily get bored with it. Frustrating at times, and there is definitely a lot of boredom when you're doing these mundane aspects. But I think that's how I've been able to sort of make peace with it. Is I just imagine that I'm playing OG Tetris on the original Game Boy back in the day, and then it's a little bit easier to slog through. Got horses. Another component of this that I'm going to ultimately have to grapple with at some point is that this side's a little bit lower. It's a whole inch, whole row of blocks lower than my entrance on the other side is, which isn't a big deal. Again, I can live with that. But it just means whenever I want to build on here, I have to destroy in a whole extra row of grass or whatever the material on the ground is. As I said, this is a really it's a simple game, but it's a really complex game too. Like there's a lot of little things that if you're not cognizant of, you'll be working a lot longer. Definitely gonna redo the lights at some point because now that I redid that entire floor plan, the one that's in front of me right now, destroyed the original and redid the entire thing. So now, as you can see, these lights are a little bit A, they're not connected, and B, they're a little bit disproportionate. So definitely gonna redo all of this, which is good. I hated these lights anyway. Again, these were just another placeholder just so I could have some lights, have some idea what it looked like seeing the field with lights on all the sides. So I'm gonna look forward to getting rid of these. I hate them. They look ugly. They look stupid. That's gonna be changed in due time. Okay, so I have to do these little walkway entrances, but embarrassingly enough, I don't remember how I did them on the other side, what materials I used, whether the tops and the bottoms have sandstone or brick. So I've actually went already once or twice to go look at the old ones, and I still keep forgetting. Okay, so these have sandstone bottoms, steel in the middle. Okay. Okay, this is doable. This is pretty simple. It's not complex. Glass and steel. Okay. Okay, here's one entrance. This is what it should look like. Now I'm gonna just build flooring around it. It's actually funny. I was thinking about it earlier. I was thinking about Minecraft in the general and the macro sense, and then my stadiums in Minecraft, and then I was thinking about like analogies for it. And it's like Minecraft, especially when you're talking about doing projects that are super elaborate and complex. Minecraft is kind of like a relationship. It's like a relationship with a deeply flawed person. Because of course, I'm solving for the fact that everyone has flaws. We all have things we'd like to change. We all have things we don't want to change. So that is always on the table. So Minecraft is like an extremely complex relationship. You're constantly iterating over time. You're trying to get better. You're trying to grow together and trying to do all these different things. And that is very much my relationship with this project. She started off very deeply flawed. Over time, it's been improved, iterated upon, redid a couple of things, redid a lot of things actually. don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, uh, my original point still holds. Minecraft is like an extremely complex relationship, and not always. I mean, if you're playing in survival mode, if you're playing more like the traditional style, it's a little bit more natural and organic feeling. But in this context, like when you're trying to do this kind of a project, it's like a very complicated relationship, we'll say. Although, with that being said, definitely in a general sense, I mean, if we're putting personification on video games, Minecraft, I mean, that's definitely my girl. She has taught me a lot, really put onus on me to really learn about the different aspects of architecture and symmetry and asymmetry and how to apply those things. So that's Bay in a couple of different ways. She has taught me a great deal, and I'm still learning. Again, let's not even talk about the fact that I haven't even learned how to use redstone yet. People are out here building computers and artificial intelligence, so I'm not even on that stratosphere. I don't. So that's a whole nother conversation for a different day. But let's just put it this way: Minecraft, she loves you long time, as they say. I don't know. When I think about my relationship with this game, I mean, there's a lot of little nuanced, like individualized things that go into it, but it's like I think more than anything with Minecraft, it's like this is like my thinking game. So this is a game about solving problems, about really when you're getting on it, you're getting into like the architectural and tactical aspects of how you deploy this scale of a project. There's a lot of like personal things that go into it, like what kind of person are you? What do you aspire for? So when I'm working in this game, I'm often thinking about everything about life, about different experiences. There's no escapism here, folks. And then it's funny too because I actually have like sort of a fear too with this game, with this project, because I think a lot of the time it's like I always have this fear with this project that I'm not going to finish it, that I'm going to in my own head and my anal attention to detail, and it's going to add so many new projects and new things to do that I'm never going to be able to finish everything. And that's like always in like the back of my mind for sure. But I try to just like whenever I play, just streamline it to one project at a time and just focus on whatever the current mini project of the day is. So today it's this entrance to south zone. Next time I play this, it might be shoring up some of the locker rooms, trying to find a better way to deal with lighting, making some of these hallways look less like dungeons. So each session is a different project, or at least that's the goal. And I always try, as I've mentioned on the stream before, I always try to set it up in such a way that every time I'm playing this, I'm accomplishing some aspect that's conducive to the end goal, which is for this to be done and to be beautiful, to be symmetrical, and to be somewhat accurate to the real structure that sits in downtown Baltimore, Maryland as we speak. And then unrelated but related, I mean definitely to all the people sending me messages, no, you can't help me build this stadium. I appreciate it. I really, really appreciate it even more than I can convey. No help though, people. I'm sorry. I am not emotionally secure enough to let anyone else in here and touch this stuff. You can call it mistrust, you can call it insecurity, probably all of those things. I take that. That's fair. That's a reasonable assessment. But this is my project. I'm gonna do it. Like I said, not to mention it's counterproductive. I've changed things in here so often, does it make sense for people to help me? Because like I said, as I'm building this as we speak, this stuff is a lot of it going to be placeholders. So it's like I'm going to have people help me build placeholders. People help me build things that aren't going to be there in a week or a month, 2 months, etc. So I always appreciate it. I always appreciate all the love and support. I mean, a couple like last week or 2 weeks ago, my Madden community guys shouted me out on their show, and that was like amazing. Shouting out my stadium. I mean, I really appreciate it. I'm always like overwhelmed by the support, the retweets, stuff on Instagram, and the messages I get, the people who are asking me about it, how's it coming along. I mean, support is amazing, but respectfully, I ask that you support from afar. I mean, I think I'm getting better with that though. I mean, I've let a couple of people send me messages if they can and ask if they can come in here. I mean, I've used to not let anyone come in here. Not only could you not help me, I wouldn't even let you come look at it. So I've gotten better with that. I'm less paranoid about it, and then I'll let people who send me Xbox messages and ask to come look at it. I'll let them come in here and look around and see what I've done. But that is, as of now, kind of like it. And again, even that for a while was a stretch. I don't know if that's trust issues. I don't know what that is. It's something, but as of now, it's kind of is what it is. Actually, now that I think about it, the sandstone looks a little bit different than it normally does. It's a little bit lighter. I don't know what's up with that. I mean, I haven't. Sure, people have noticed who've seen this and play Minecraft. This isn't the normal textures I'm playing with the city texture pack, because the city texture pack makes the stadium look even better. So maybe that's what it is. So look how big she is. Like it's funny when you're growing up, you hear all these cliches about you can do anything you put your mind to, you can do anything, you just have to believe. I mean, something along those lines. And then it's like you hear those things, and then as you get older, you get pessimistic and jaded, and you kind of just brush it off, like, yeah, okay, I can do whatever, but I won't. So it's like funny that as I've done this project, that kind of really drives home that premise that it's like I saw this amazing one-to-one Dallas Cowboys stadium on YouTube a couple of years ago. That the guy had did that in the Xbox 360 version of the game. This is long before PS4, Xbox One. That in the 360 version of the game, he made a one-to-one recreation of Dallas Cowboys Stadium in Arlington in survival mode. Not creative mode. I'm doing this in creative mode, where I have every material known to man and infinite amounts of it. He built that in survival mode. And I was so impressed. I was so in awe of it. I had such a respect for the work he had done on it, and I think he had like one or two friends help him with it. That was like the final push. Like, you know what? Let's try this. Let's see where this goes. And then over time, it's blossomed into this. It's not too many times in life you can like legitimately say something you created kicks ass, but it's like this kicks ass. Just what I've done already. I've been humble brag, haha. This is amazing. It's not perfect. Still got a lot of things, even just on the inside, I would like to change and to tweak. But just what I've done on it so far looks really, really good. I'm really, really happy with it. It makes my heart smile every time I look at it, because just in a vacuum, it looks really good. It looks amazing. But then, more than that, what it represents, what it symbolizes about life and everything else, and just even in just the mundane, simple terms, that it's like when you really want something, if you really want to attempt something, you want to put yourself out there and you take a risk. It's not always going to pay off, of course, but just that feeling of like I took that plunge to see if I could build this stadium, and it's coming along very slowly over a long period of time, but it is coming along very, very good, and that it was built all single-handedly. Because it's this weird, it coincides with like this weird shift I've had with video games, where like it's less and less becoming entertainment, and it's more life study, life examination, life enhancement. I mean, whatever you want to call it. It's probably multiple things, but like when I'm building this stadium, I mean, parts of it are fun, parts of it are entertaining and interesting, but for the most part, it's mundane, it's boring, it's stressful, it's a lot of negative emotions. So, thus, that bears the question, well, why would you do this? And I think, honestly, more than anything, it's the challenge of doing this kind of a project. It's the fun of seeing it all come together, because I definitely have an addiction to watching things grow and evolve. And then I think also a part of it too is just seeing how far I can take it. Because again, I have a lot of smaller goals with it, but it's like I'm never gonna do everything that I want to do with this project, and I can be, even now as I'm working on it, can say with contentment that I'm never gonna get to everything in this project that I want to get to, and then I can live with that. But it's interesting to see like at what point I'm gonna be like, okay, I think I've had my fill. I think I'm gonna just call it here, because again, I might not ever get to that point. So that can go any number of ways. Very, very interested to see how far I end up pushing this. Because again, every once in a while you start to think, okay, I'm starting to peak with this. And then I do some new amazing thing. A press box brings up. I do locker rooms. I redo locker rooms, and they look so amazing. And then it's like, you know what? Let's keep going. It's like every couple of months I seem to create something in here that reinvigorates the fire to keep pushing forward with it. Even though now that I think about it too, when I think about Minecraft, I think some of the mistake that people, well, I wouldn't even necessarily characterize it as a mistake, but I think people look at some of the the amazing things people have created. I mean, people have made Middle Earth, Minas Tirith, Askelios, Rohan, like these amazing works that are real, that are fictional, and people, just your average person looking to pick up a controller, looks at those things and says, I'm never going to be able to do anything like that. So, thus, I shouldn't even attempt to play these kinds of games. And I think, you're not wrong if you feel that way, but I think it is unfortunate for the people who do, because I think, even if you don't attempt something that's, again, let me be clear here, folks. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous that I attempted this. On some level, maybe I should be ashamed of myself. This is ridiculous. This is inconsequential. If I could fit 50,000, 30, 40, 50,000 other players in here, then this might make some sense that I have attempted to build an entire real life NFL stadium in a video game. Then it might make a little bit of sense, and even then it's still laboring on ridiculous. But in reality, I think the player limit on Xbox One is 8 players or 16 players or something along those lines. Someone in the chat on YouTube in the comment section will correct me on that. But this is with 8 to 16 players maximum fitness stadium. This is completely ridiculous. This is insanity. This is lunacy. This is every superlative characterization you want to use rolled into one. So don't look at this or any of the other ridiculous or insane things on the high end that people have built in Minecraft and then look at that and say, oh wow, Minecraft is really hard, I shouldn't play Minecraft. Because again, you might not like Minecraft anyway. That is real, and there's a lot of people who are out there like that, and that's fine. But I'm always of the belief you gotta try these experiences and really give it a full shot. I mean, it's the cool thing with this game is that there's a lot of different ways to play it. There's a lot of different facets to it. This creative mode and making real life structures. This is one of 10,000 different ways to play this game. And that just because you're not interested or don't want to or can't or any other reasoning behind not wanting to attempt something like this, you shouldn't rob yourself of the experience of trying Minecraft and learning about it and seeing what it's all about, and then really being able to make a fully educated decision about how you feel about it. I think, because again, if I'm being honest, like I said, I wouldn't recommend this level of project to anyone. This is crazy. This is ridiculous. I own it completely. This is my anal attention to detail run completely wild. I own that. Someone walks up to me, oh, I had McDonald's for lunch. I had a Big Mac combo meal. It's like, oh, great. I built M&T Bank Stadium in Minecraft. Their counter response, wait, what? You built an entire NFL stadium in a video game? Yes. Yes, sir, I did. That would be me. And it's like they're kind of looking at you in amazement, but they're kind of judging you too. Like, you might be a loser. So there's a lot of both positive and negative connotations that are associated with that, and I'm prepared to accept all of them. I can live with it. Again, this thing kicks ass. I mean, just look at the symmetry. I mean, just one time, real quick. Just look at the symmetry. Look at all of this lines up. These railings. I mean, this looks so good. And then as far as Minecraft as a game, I mean, I think the thing with this game that has like continued to amaze me and that I really, really appreciate is that I really, really respect and appreciate the fact that this game really, and this is, the biggest selling point of it for me, that if I was recommending it to someone, I would say the biggest thing about Minecraft that I really, really respect is that it's the kind of experience they really take the handcuffs off of you. They let you go in this world and they give you, of course, tools and materials and different things, but in reality, you're free to kind of do whatever you want. If you want to go build a working computer or artificial intelligence or a working printer, and people have built all of these things, you can pretty much create almost anything. Now, in a case like this, making a hexagonal shaped stadium in Minecraft, of course, I had to make it more like rectangular, so it's like a giant square or rectangle instead of like its real life shape. So there's some limitations, but through workarounds, I mean, you can pretty much build almost anything. There's no limitations on you. There's no, if you notice in the corners of the screen, there's no mini map. There's no HUD. There's no, hey, do this. There's no objectives. And, that's scary and uninteresting to some people, and I understand that. But for people who are just looking to, use video games or this video game in particular as their canvas for creation, there's a lot of room for different interpretation and different things you can do in this space. And I think that continues to be fascinating in watching how people take that ability to be able to create on some level whatever you want. People are making video cameras. I mean, I've seen someone on the PC version made a working Miss Pac-Man cabinet that you could play in the game in Minecraft on the PC. So it continues to amaze me what people are doing in this game when, without shackles. And I hope to see more of it going forward. Okay, so I'm just about done for the day. Just wanted to make a little bit of progress on this south end zone entrance. It's coming along nicely. I've done enough today that the next time I play this, whether or not I stream it, the next time I play this, I might actually mess around and finish this whole end zone in one burst. So that's cool. I'm happy about that. Like I said, some of these sessions I can live with making small incremental little improvements. Like I don't have to do something radical every time I play. Every time I play, I don't have to necessarily produce like the epicness that was my press box. Like, that's a gem that happens once every couple of months. So I can live with that clip. So okay, in my head I'm sitting here mulling over everything I've offered during this session. Minecraft is like I did this terrible analogy. Minecraft's like a relationship. It fits, but I didn't really explain it well, and I haven't really iterated on it enough in my own head to break it down just yet. But so I covered Minecraft as like a relationship. I covered a little bit of what goes into designing stadium-like structures in Minecraft. My perfectionism with Minecraft, my insecurity with Minecraft. So I covered a little bit of all things during this stream. Again, whether it's for like a minute or 20 minutes or an hour, it's still like baffling to me that like as someone who was a kid in the 90s and like how gaming has evolved, it's crazy to think now that we're like in this space where people are watching people play video games, whether it's on Twitch or YouTube or wherever. I mean, I think that's A, it's amazing, and then B, like for me on a personal level, it's like weird and still like a little bit like uncomfortable and tenable. It's a weird situation because it's like you're still technically doing what you normally do. I mean, I'm playing Minecraft, I'm working on this stadium, but it's like you're talking, you're thinking out loud, you're trying to somewhat curate what you're doing and what you're saying for an audience of people who are going to be watching either live or through, on demand on Twitch or on YouTube. So it's weird. I've definitely far from perfected it, but it's coming along. I mean, I'm assuming anyone that's for example, anyone who's clicking on this on YouTube, you saw what I'm gonna just in advance say is probably gonna be a really epic YouTube headline title, and that's why you're clicking on the video, or an epic YouTube thumbnail. One of the two things is ultimately why you're clicking on the video. And if you've lasted long enough where you're hearing this portion of it, I mean, it's pretty much a win for me already. So, yeah, I think this is going to call it for this session. This is a good place to end at. Made a little bit of progress. So, yeah, I think we'll call it there for the day. So, again, one project of many. The work's never over with this endeavor / project. So, that'll be it for the day. Thank you for tuning in, whether you're watching on Twitch or on YouTube. I really appreciate you checking out my project and dealing with my weirdness and my insecurity and my randomness, so on and so forth. For the sake of convenience, I'm going to go ahead and real quick and steal the line that's floating around out there from Kobe Bryant and Barack Obama. I'm going to just say JReedVick7 out.